I am bloody dopey. Hey, come on, where am I? There I am. What am I like? I don't know. I'm watching the bloody intro, forgetting to get everything else ready. What an idiot. Anyway, hey up, it's Steve from that old Yorkshire geek. Welcome to episode 183 of Friday Night Upon with Fear. This week we're going to break down and review Sir Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. Come hot off the heels, albeit 3 years later, from Psycho. So it kind of stayed in the horror vein, didn't it? But going in a different direction. Instead of men committing horrors on people, it's animals or birds in this case. But before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. We're live on YouTube. Just double check. Yes, we are. And we should be live on Rumble. Yes, we are. And there we go. What else? Explore the description for links for. Oh, hang on. With Grace to say, do I have a different mic today? No. Do I sound different? What do I sound like? I don't know. I've lowered the volume slightly on it because it seemed a bit blown out. I recorded something the other day and it was super loud. But anyway. No, I haven't got a different mic, so I don't know what's up. If something's different, I don't know what it is. I haven't changed anything apart from the volume in StreamYard. I forgot what I want now. It sounds a little bit muffled behind the evil music. Oh, right. I'll put the volume up a little bit then. If I can figure out how to do that, whenever. Put it up a touch, not a lot. Right. Anyway, whatever. Where were we? Explore the description for links for stuff like merch and my books. There they are, Amazon Kindle and paperback. Give them a whirl for a bit of fun. What else? Links for me, other websites. Kind of sound like you're underwater. So I can, you know what? I'll take that music off. I thought it'd sound a bit cool. With a bit of background music. It's StreamYards. I mean, it's hit and miss, isn't it? It is hit and miss. Right? Do I sound better now? Do I sound better? Right. Where were we? Links. Yes. For my other websites and my other channels and my social medias and Spotify, Patreon, and all that stuff. Become a member to get early access videos and exclusive videos and stuff like that. Right. So is that it? I think it is, isn't it? Yes. Right. So The Birds from 1963, as I said, directed by Sir Alfred Hitchcock. Stars Rod Taylor, Jessica Tandy, Suzanne Plachette, and Tippi Hedren in her film debut, based on the short story from Daphne du Maurier. What else? It was written by Evan Hunter. Hitchcock, or Hitch as he's known to his mates, tried to get Joseph Stefano to write this. Joseph Stefano did the script for Psycho. Did he go on to create The Outer Limits? I think he did, didn't he? But it was busy. Maybe with The Outer Limits, I don't know. So Evan Hunter stepped into the scripting duties. There's no music in this film, but there are electronic sound effects. And I can't remember who did them. Just a minute, let me check. I've seen it somewhere. Soundtrack, there we go. This German bloke, whose name I can't remember, Friedrich, no, it's not that. Remy Gassman, that's it. Remy Gassman got in touch with Alfred Hitchcock and says, we've got this electronic device. It's kind of the world's first synthesizer sort of thing, where you can get a natural sound and then play it back, on the keyboard. So they decided to use that as the score. So all the bird sounds that you hear and some screaming sounds of people are actually kind of the musical score. And he stayed with Bernard Herrmann, who did like Psycho and those other films. He stayed on as a sound consultant. But anyway, what else? Anything else? I think that's about it. I don't know what its budget was. It says there $3 million, $3.3 million, box office 11 million. I don't know if that's good for a Hitchcock film. Let's have a look. Mixed reviews, it says, upon release. But other people say it's a masterpiece. One of them being me. It's one of my favourite Hitchcock films. Not my top favourite, but one of them. Right, so we'll get on with it, shall we? We're not going to watch the film, obviously, because YouTube are mental. We're going to go through it in a series of stills. I'm trying to remember what I've gleaned from the... there's a documentary on. It goes on for about an hour. It's fine. No commentaries. What I've learned from that. And like I said, we'll go through it scene by scene. I'll try and remember what I have learned. We'll go from there. Do I still sound like I'm underwater, Win Grace? Maybe that's just my voice. Maybe Uhura's trying to contact me, like she did with the whales in Star Trek 4. Anyway, right, so we'll get on with it, shall we? I shall pop myself over yonder any second now. Any second now. I can't remember which one it is. That one, isn't it? Yes, there we go. And we'll add this to the stage. There we go. Universal Pictures presents. I think this was the first film that said Universal Pictures on it, but Universal International before that. But I could be wrong. But I think it's the first one. Regress says it does. Like maybe it's a room mic with echo, but the main mic that can hear you fine enough. Or could be my speakers finally dying. I don't know. Maybe it's this. I've had this microphone a while, haven't I? Anyway, we'll see. We'll see how we go. I'll listen. If I listen back later on and it's fine, I'm going to fly over to America land and have words. Where were we? Oh, yes, Universal Pictures. There we go. As I said, I think this was the first time Universal Pictures was used. Before that, it was Universal International. But anyway, off we go. We see lots of birds fluttering about. Look, like that. The visual effects in this film, although Alfred Hitchcock refers to them as trick shots, I think that's, yeah, he called them trick shots. As in trick photography. That was what they were known as back in the day. They wanted to use like blue screen, which was the standard for adding, people in backgrounds and stuff. But with them using a lot of birds, particularly crows and stuff like that. With the rapid flapping of wings, we see a lot of blue. So they used this, I forgot already, sodium vapor. They're streetlights, are they? Let me check. I'm sure it's sodium vapor thing. Where is it? Yes, all right, sodium vapor, which is a yellow screen process. So sometimes you'll see like a light border around people. But anyway. So anyway, we begin. There we go. Alfred Hitchcock. I pressed the wrong button. There we go. Alfred Hitchcock's loud squawking and calling. The Birds, from the story by Daphne du Maurier, which I've never read, obviously. I've never read anything by Daphne du Maurier. But apparently her short story was set in England, in Cornwall, which is in the southwest of England. But this has obviously been transposed to Northern California. Right, anyway, so we're having the good old credits. Anyway, so there we go. Director of photography Robert Burks. Yes, Miss Hedren's costumes by the great Edith Head, which I think she's won 1 million Oscars, hasn't she? Pictorial designs, that's a cool way of saying matte paintings by the great Albert Whitlock, who's done a few Hitchcock films, hasn't he? He also did The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, among other things. He also did the visual effects in The Final Countdown, not the Europe song, the film with Kirk Douglas et al. Anyway, anything else to check out on here? There we go. Electronic sound production, a composition by Remy Gassman and Oscar Sala, sound consultant Bernard Herrmann. Directed by Alfred Hitchcock. This was his last film that got nominated for an Oscar, which was for special effects, and it didn't even win. Cleopatra won. Why were Alfred Hitchcock passed over so much? He's renowned as one of the greatest directors of all time, and he never won an Academy Award, did he? Anyway, Right, off we go. We begin. Actually, we're going to go back a bit and begin because we're going to hear. Oh, cable car building. Actually, hear lots of birds cawing. So it's started already as the problems with the birds. We're never told why the birds do what they do in this film. Because Hitchcock thought if we try and explain it, it'll become science fiction, and he wanted it to be horror. Because this, I think, I don't know if it is the first, but it is an early example of like a nature horror film. We've had a few in like the 70s and 80s, haven't we? Stuff like Day of the Animals, Frogs. I'm blanking now. We have like the Prophecy, etc. But this is I'm sure there must have been others before this, but this is the first one I can think of that is about man versus the animals that are attacking him for whatever reason. Anyway, right. Anyway, so here we go. Here we see Tippi Hedren. There she is. Natalie is her actual name. Tippi's, I don't know where Tippi came from, but the name. I mean, here she is in. We're in San Francisco in I think Union Square. I think I read somewhere. Hitchcock hated filming on location. If he could avoid it, he would. And I think he probably just sent out second units, to do location shooting. He hated doing it himself. So this shot, she crosses. I can't speak. She crosses the road here, and then they use a sign as a wipe as she walks onto a set, which is kind of. I didn't know until it was pointed out in the documentary. She's crossing the road. The lovely Tippi Hedren. Anyway, right. So she's going to walk past this sign for San Francisco, and we'll go through it a bit at a time. You see, I think it's this edge. I'll just play it, and you can see this edge is the wipe. And she's on the set now, and it's where we're going to get. Oh, wow, this boy wolf whistles her. She turns around and smiles at him. Might have been wolf whistled at by a miner. Anyway, so we're going to see Hitchcock's cameo now. So he's going to come out of the. She's looking at the birds, by the way. See, the birds are kicking off already for some reason, but they're not doing anything. You see, they're making lots of noise. Excuse me, just adjusting myself. So anyway, where were we? Yeah, she notices that. I'm going to say something else and I forgot what it was. Never mind. Anyway, so here comes Hitchcock. Oh, that was it. His cameo here is at the beginning. I don't know if it's for the same reason that he put his cameo at the beginning of Psycho, because he didn't want people looking for his cameo and interrupting the flow of his film, of his his suspense thriller that was Psycho. So he put himself in at the beginning, so it went out of the way. So I wonder if that's a similar thing here. I don't know. But anyway, I've gone past it already. As she goes in, here he comes with these dogs. Apparently like these dogs. I don't know whose they were, but apparently he fed them the best meats. Apparently. So there he is. There's Hitch. Good evening. Off he goes. Right. Anyway, so she's going to this pet shop, and she's gone to pick up a minor bird, which hasn't arrived. We learn later on it's a gift for, I think, an aunt. I can't remember which her name is, but anyway. Gone to pick it up for her aunt, which is a gift for her, and it's not ready. It's not there. It hasn't arrived yet. So anyway, so that's her reason for being in this pet shop with all these birds. Talking about the gulls are kicking off, and this woman says there might be a storm at sea. That's presuming them inland. I thought San Francisco by the sea. Whatever. So we learned that they haven't arrived yet of the birds, the minor birds. So she's going to phone up and see what's going on. So anyway, so she says, "Well, if I write down my address, can you have them delivered?" So yes, okie dokie. So as she's writing down, enter Rod Taylor as Mitch Brennan. By the way, Tippi Hedren's playing Melanie Daniels. They also looked at Audrey Hepburn and Suzanne Pleshette wanted to play Melanie as well. But Hitchcock allegedly fell in love with Tippi Hedren. He saw her in a commercial, fell in love with her. So essentially, So he got her, and he kind of made advances towards her. She rebuffed him, and so it wasn't very nice to her during the making of this film. That's the story. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's the story. She actually ended up in hospital, but we'll get to that later on with exhaustion. Anyway, here he comes. Here's Rob Taylor as Mitch Brenner. Is it Brenner and Brennan? I think it's Brenner. Who's a lawyer, we learn later. He's gone to look for some lovebirds as a present for his sister, who is called Kathy. He's gone to look for them for that. So anyway, and he thinks, well, we are led to believe that he thinks that Melody is working there because she's like by the counter, looking officious, I suppose, writing something. So he says, "Oh, if you could help me," and she plays along because we learn that she's a practical joker. She's a socialite. We learn she's the daughter of a rich newspaper mogul, and so she basically lives a life of just doing whatever she wants, basically. She's been in the gossip columns and all that stuff. She gets up to things, and she's a practical joker and all that stuff. And, anyway, so she plays along. So we have a little scene of them talking about birds. She knows nothing about birds, but he's playing along, and we learn eventually that he knows. He knew who she was as soon as he saw her because he's seen her in court. Windgrace says, "I wish I could be the daughter of a rich newspaper mogul. Yeah, it'd be all right, wouldn't it? Or the son." Anyway. So she knows nothing about lovebirds. Actually, I didn't. I had to look them up, to be honest. I know nothing about lovebirds. Because are these lovebirds? And she says, yes, they are. And he says, no, they're not. They're something else. Some sort of finches or something. I don't know. Lovebirds are a kind of parakeet or parrot or whatever. They're a small parrot. From that family. And we do see them in the film. But we'll get to that. Anyway, so we go over there. We see a couple of canaries. And he says he wants to see the canary. He holds out his hand, and so she tries to get it out, and it escapes. And hilarity ensues. And he catches it and they put it back. And so he says, "Back in your gilded cage, Melanie Daniels." Oh, why did you call it that? Because I know you are. So they don't get off on the best of terms. Excuse me. So anyway, there we go. Well, it's all in court. A bogey. Or is it just a spot on the film? It's a spot on the film. I just happened to land on it. Anyway, where were we? It's all in court because one of her pranks ended up with a big window getting broken, and she ended up in court about that. And they said, "Look, the judge should have put you behind bars." So obviously, they end up in love. Obviously, as the film goes on, but right now they don't like each other. It's that old story. But anyway, off he goes. He doesn't get his lovebirds, so she thinks she's going to play a prank on him. So she's going to find out who he is. She actually just runs downstairs. The first car she sees, a Ford Galaxy, which is where Lone Star were found at the back of the Ford Galaxy or something like that. She sees this number plate. Sorry, license plate. And Justin's here, not Windgrace is here. Justin's here as well. Hope we are all well. We are, thank you very much. And he's in with a super sticker as well. Thank you, Justin. I'll have to see what that is. It's, I don't know. It's somebody going, me. Hello. Anyway. And Windgrace says, a Galaxy class Ford. Yes, exactly. Anyway. So she sees that. She just assumes that that's his car for some reason. I don't know, because you can't see him in it because he drives off. And you can't see who's in it, really. It could be anybody. Anyway, whatever. She presumes, I'm not going to say assumes. She assumes, because to assume makes an ass out of you and me, that it's his car. Turns out it is. And so, she says, the minor bird will be here later this afternoon. She says, have it delivered. So she uses the phone. Says, can I use your phone? Yes. So she phones up the newspaper and she asks a favour. for somebody at the newspaper to check on the number plate and all that. So a license plate, there we go. And going to find out who it belongs to. So there we go. Anyway, she goes back up there. Hang on, I haven't done it in a minute. Yeah, well, she asks the woman if she can get some lovebirds, 2 lovebirds, and she can get them by tomorrow. She says, fine. Oh. What next? How do we... Oh, that's it, yes. I'm just trying to remember. I've only just finished watching the bloody film. Right, so her plan is in motion. Look, she looks very pleased with herself, doesn't she? Right, so next day, she's got the lovebirds. Look, there they are in that cage. And now she's learned where Mitch Brenner lives. Sorry, Justin, I'm ignoring everybody. Justin says, hello, long day at work. Ready for the weekend. Hey, talking amongst themselves. Yes, it is a classic. It is a classic. Isn't there a black and white version of this? I could have sworn I watched it in black and white. Maybe he had a black and white TV. I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's all. Whenever I've seen it, it's been in colour. I don't know. How old that? I don't know. Originally, Hitchcock did buy the rights for this originally, I think in 1955, for his Alfred Hitchcock Presents series. So maybe they did an episode of that, maybe, about the birds. I don't know, but ended up making it into a film, didn't it? Anyway, so she's in the elevator going up. She's found out where Mitch Brenner lives from somebody at the office. So she's in the elevator with a dodgy-looking chap, the lovebirds, and it turns out they're on the same floor, so it's all kind of awkward. What's happening? Oh, there we go. Sorry, me StreamYard is playing up. So it's kind of awkward because he just happens to live in the apartment opposite Mitch Brenner's. So she leaves it there, Mr. Mitchell Brenner. There we go. And he says, "Oh, is that for Mitch Brenner? He's not in." And she went, "Oh, it's okay." It says, "No, he's not in, and he won't be in all weekend. He goes up to his mother's house in Bodega Bay." He says, "Oh, right, where's that?" There you go. He won't be back till Monday. You don't want to leave him there all weekend, do you? And he says, "I'd take him in, but I'm going away too." So she says, "Oh, right, where's Bodega Bay?" It's about 60 miles north, up the coast. You go on the freeway, it'll take you 2.5 hours. You go the coast road, it'll take you 3 hours. So she decides to drive up herself. So that's what she's going to do. So this little prank that she's done is going to take her up to Bodega Bay, or Bodega Bay, however you pronounce it. Which I keep thinking is the village, not the village, the town in The Fog, John Carpenter's The Fog, but it ain't. That's Antonio Bay, isn't it? Why do I keep thinking it's Bodega Bay? I don't know. But that's in Northern California as well. Wingrace says, "I just Googled. Apparently there's a Mandela effect about this being in black and white." There you go. I didn't know. I've always seen it in colour, so I can't comment. But I'm from the UK, where we didn't get colour TV until last week. Anyway. I remember we got our first colour telly when I was a kid in, I think, will it have been 1978? I think it'll be 1970, or could have been 1979. I'll tell you. I will tell you. Because I know what I was watching at the time. But I forgot what it was called. The Mersey Pirate. I think it was that. The Mersey Pirate TV show. I thought when that ran for. When did that run for? From 1979. So it was 1979. We got our first colour TV in our house, and it broke down quite a lot. Everybody turned green in it for some reason. That's how I remember. It was after 78 because it turned green, which were okay if we were watching The Incredible Hulk with Lou Ferrigno, because he was green anyway. About 10 years ago, when we went to South Carolina, one of the motels still have a sign out that says "Colour TV." Great, isn't it? I used to love it when TV shows used to come on. That's it. The Invaders, a Quinn Martin production in colour. Stuff like that. I used to say stuff like that. Voyage to the bottom of the sea in colour. Great stuff. Great stuff. Anyway, where will? Oh, yes, she's going to head up to Bodega Bay, isn't she? Here she is heading up to Bodega Bay in her car, which is an Aston Martin DB2, apparently, according to IMDb. But there she's got the lovebirds. There's a bit in it that is really silly. But as we see, is this going to be it? As she's going round the bends and stuff on the road, the lovebirds are doing that leaning. It looks dead silly, doesn't it? I can imagine Hitchcock saying, "Oh, wouldn't it be very funny if the birds leaned as she went round corners?" I can't do an impression of Hitchcock. I still can't believe you watched the original series in black and white originally. That's cool. Yes, I did. Yes, watched everything. It's $6 million man and everything was in black and white for me. There was no colour, as I said, until 1979. We've got first colour TV, which were a rental, and you put money in the back of it, and a man came every week to empty the money thing. And I remember once the TV ran out. I think that's put that 50p's in or something like that, 50p coin. And it ran out one night, and my mum used to work in a local pub. She was a barmaid in a pub. And I had to go running up to the pub and say, "Mum, the TV's ma'am, the TV's run out." So she had to give us 50p. But she probably stole out the till, I imagine, probably knowing me, ma'am. So carry on watching telly. Anyway, yes, so there we go. No remote controls either back in those days. I remember the first remote control I got. Well, I got a video recorder, which came with a remote control, but with not not an infrared one. It had a wire connected. That was the remote control connected with a wire, and that was like 1984, something like that. Anyway, where were we? Oh my, yes, we're going to Bodega Bay now with the birds giving it all that. So there you go. There's the lovely coastline of Northern California. Apparently, Hitchcock really loved Northern California because it reminded him of England. Apparently, it's a similar climate, apparently, as to the UK as Northern California. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what they said in the documentary. It can be foggy and rainy and sunny all in one day. Bit like here. Anyway, so here we go. She's heading to Bodega Bay. There it is. Which is a real place. That's something I meant to do and I forgot. See if I could find the filming locations for the birds. Because I watched one the other day about Jaws, which was really good, and I forgot. Right, so here we go. Apparently, Hitchcock had every person that lived in Bodega Bay photographed for costume ideas or something. I don't know. Right, so here she is. She's going to the post office to ask where Mitch Brenner lives, and he's going to tell her. Sorry, Grace. If it could get us away from ads and $300 per month streaming, I wouldn't mind going back to paying for my TV. Well, like I say, but just make sure they put money in. It will kind of rental. So instead of just paying them so much, you paid it with a slot in the TV. Anyway, where are we? Right, so she's going to ask where Mitch Brenner lives, and says yes, across the house across the bay. And he says, take the road round, and you could hire a boat and go across. That's quicker, he said. Anyway, so there you go. There we go. That's what we're looking across. I imagine that is probably a Albert Whitlock matte painting. I imagine. Because there's a lot of them in this film. There's a lot of trick shots going on with like multiple exposures and stuff. Especially when we get to when we get like lots of birds in one shot, particularly at the end. But anyway, so that's where Mitch Brenner lives, in that house across the bay. So you can either go all the way around. I mean, she's got a car. I mean, how long will it take? Or she can rent a boat and go take the short way across. I'd go in the car. I think I'd fall out of the boat. Then. She's Melanie Daniels, and she's devil may care and does whatever she wants. So there we go. All right, so we also learn we learned earlier, I'm getting all mixed up now. We learned earlier that we're getting the lovebirds for his sister, and we learned it's a little girl, but he doesn't know her name. He says she's called Alice, I think. The other fella says Lois, and anyway, so they don't know her name. He says, "Well, go and ask the school mistress. She'll know the name." So he points out where the school mistress lives. So anyway, there you go. Lois, no, it's Alice. Turns out it's Kathy. So I didn't know. Right. So anyway, so he arranges the boat for her, by the way. Says, can I rent a boat to go across? So he sorts that out for her. Doesn't charge her anything. Don't see her pay anything for this boat. So I don't know if she's paid him or she pays the fella who we're going to see with the boat, who has got a famous niece that we'll get to. Anyway, she goes to see Suzanne Plachette in a minute up at the schoolhouse. There it is, the Bodega Bay Schoolhouse. It was called the Potter Schoolhouse in real life. And apparently were haunted, allegedly haunted, which Hitchcock thought were cool. He thought that, yeah, that'll give it a bit more, atmosphere or whatever. But we don't see any ghosts. Don't think we do anyway. Look in the windows, folks. If you see anything in the windows, let me know. But anyway, that's the school. But this is the house where Suzanne Plachette lives. I forgot her name. Annie something or other. Why don't I just look it up? Where is she? Suzanne Plachette. Annie Hayworth. There we go. Not Rita. Annie. With a red mailbox. Right, so she arrives here. She knocks on the door and somebody says, "Who is it?" She says, "It's me." I thought she just doesn't know. You only said that if it's somebody you know. Who's me? Anyway, so she asks, who is Mitch? What's the name of Mitch Brenner's sister? She goes, Kathy. Right, that's fair enough. We also see in the window. You can just make it out there. We see it in a minute. By the way, lots of smoking because it's the 60s. Apparently, both of these were heavy smokers. But Tippi Hedren stopped smoking 5 years after this film, Suzanne Plachette. Much later, that's just by the by. There you go. Room for rent. She's got a room for rent, which is part of the plot that we'll get to in a bit. Anyway, so we kind of learned that she had a thing for Mitch, which is why she moved to this town. We'll learn later on. But anyway, that's another thing. So now she knows the little girl's name. And so she's going to go on the boat over to Mitch Brenner's house. Have we seen birds flying about? No. So she's writing a note. She's written a note for Mitch Brenner, kind of a sarcastic note, because remember, they don't get on. But now she's decided she's changed her mind, and it's going to be a nice note. It's going to be a birthday present for Kathy. So she's writing a new note for Kathy. So anyway, off she goes down to the docks. There it is, parks up. Charter boats. Does it say how much they charge? Salmon trolling. What salmon trolling? That you just call them names and stuff. They're a rubbish salmon. I don't know. It says that is it $4 per person? That's for bait fishing. What about the boat over the bay? Don't know. It doesn't say. But anyway, whatever. Here she is. Oh, right, sure, she's here with this chap. I don't know if he's got a name. Does it say? I can't remember. Just bear with me. Is the fisherman helping with rental boats? That's his name, according to IMDb. Let's have a look at this one. Where is it? Yeah, fisherman helping with. Anyway. It's called Doodles Weaver. I don't know if that's his actual name. No, Winston Sheffield Doodles Weaver. If you recognise that surname, he's the uncle of Sigourney Weaver. So there we go. That's interesting, isn't it? I was today years old when I found that out. Anyway, so he helps her into the boat, and there we go. Off she goes. She actually, he fires it up and undoes the thing, and she sets off just as he steps off. Look, Anyway, so off she goes across the bay. It's a motorboat, by the way. She's not rowing, although she does do some paddling in a bit. But anyway, right, so there she goes. I don't. I bet that's another matte painting. I bet it is. I bet it is because Albert Whitlock was an amazing matte artist, wasn't he? I bet that is as well. I bet all these backgrounds. I bet they're all matte paintings. Whoever he is. But here we go. This is obviously a special effects shot. Sorry, a trick shot. She's in a studio, obviously. Anyway, what was he? Birds, look, birds gathering. Or whatever. Right, she notices somebody comes out of the house as she's approaching. It's Mitch and I don't know if it's his mother or his sister. I can't really make it out. Can't make it out. But anyway, so she stops the motorboat so it's not being noisy, and she paddles the rest of the way in. She's being very surreptitious, isn't she, for some weird reason. Anyway, so off she goes. They've gone into a barn, and she's been really quiet, but she's very handy with this boat, isn't she? I'd be all over the place. I would. She knows what she's doing. She knows her stuff. There's Melanie Daniels, even though she's a rich socialite who's always getting in the gossip columns and stuff. But anyway, she takes it in, just goes in the house, just doesn't care, just leaves it there with the note, and buggers off again. They're none the wiser. Look, off she goes. I actually thought she was going to set off here with the rope still attached to the jetty, but she doesn't. She doesn't. Look, she knows her stuff. Off she goes. She paddles away for a bit. But we get our first bird attack as she's heading back over the water in a minute. Look, he's got his binoculars out, and she's getting it going. Good binoculars, them, aren't they? I love film binoculars. I wish binoculars were like film binoculars in real life. Anyway, off she goes, heading back to Bodega Bay. There we see the fishing boats and stuff like that. We learn actually that all this stuff seems to happen when she arrives, but we've actually learned that stuff's been happening for about a week earlier with the fishing boats. It says they've been attacked by seagulls and stuff. One of the fishermen says that. Anyway, so she's all smiles, but here comes a seagull, and it gets her. And there we go. Apparently, they used 3,500 birds for this film, real birds, and a lot of puppet birds. Like some were hand puppets, with just bird heads. Some were, not animatronic, but like puppet birds that flapped about. You can chuck them about and all that stuff. Rubber birds, etc. Birds heads attached to hammers, not real birds' heads, fake birds attached to hammers for the scene that we'll see near the end, and all that. And birds made out of paper and all cutouts and stuff like that. Anyway, so she's been injured. She's got a cut on her head. Mitch has arrived. He must have run. I don't know. So I'm guessing he's drove round. So why didn't she just drive round? It's taking the same length of time that's taken her to cross the bay for him to drive all the way around. Why did she just drive round? Because then we wouldn't have the scene of her getting attacked by the bird, would we? But whatever. So anyway, he helps her out. Look, she's all shocked. So he takes her to the cafe, diner, whatever you want to call it. Justin says there is parts with the puppet birds that make me laugh. There's something you can tell, But I think they do actually grab hold of some real birds on occasion and chuck them about as well. But anyway, there she is. She's bleeding. Heals up really quickly, this cut. Anyway, so they're heading to the Tides restaurant. I don't know if that's a real place. Actually, I'm going to look up Bodega Bay, see if the Tides restaurant is still there. Bet it's not. I bet it's changed. What I'm looking for? Maps. Bodega Bay, California. Where do I look? Where do I look? They're in at the Tides. Oh, right. So is that the same place? Or is it a different place? Well, the Inn at the Tides. There's a place called the Inn at the Tides, but it's not on the waterfront. Oh, the Tides Wharf and Restaurant. There we go. Ah, can we see that? Is that? Have we got a? Oh, yes, they have. Yes, they have. Right, let's see if it looks the same. If it is, I'll show you. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, it is a thing. It is a place. I'll show you. I'll show you. I'll just I'll get rid of that. I'll just drag this over. In a minute. Just bear with me. Just bear with me. And Gavin Units here, he says Tippi Hedren is the real bird in this. Yes, she's a top bird, isn't she? And Hitchcock thought so as well, till she rebuffed him. Probably McDonald's now, or another soulless franchise restaurant. No, it's not though. Here it is. Never put it. There it is. There it is. The Tides in Bodega Bay, California. I think it's a different building though. They probably knocked that down, haven't they? But it is there. The same. Probably the same location, but I suspect it might be a different building. It doesn't look. It looks similar, doesn't it? You can see there. Look. Do you reckon? I think it's a new building, isn't it? I think they probably pulled that down. But anyway, so there we go. So if you go to Bodega Bay, you can go to the Tides restaurant. Cool. I won't bother doing any more. Right, where were we? So in they go, and they're all looking at them. Look, it's a busy day, isn't it? Oh, it's all it's a restaurant and that, and it's also a boozer as well. Everybody's getting K-line there. They go get some iodine and some cotton wool and all that stuff. The owner here, whose name I can't remember, he does say it. What's he say? Probably called Joe or something. She's called Helen. What's he called? Deke. He's worried that she's going to sue him. So did it happen out in the parking lot? Says, no, it happened out on the boat. Says, oh, thank God for that. Because some fella tripped up outside and sued me. Anyway, so we see they're getting closer together now, even though they don't really like each other yet. But that happens quick as a flash later in the film. Justin says he thinks it's the same, renovated. Maybe so. I don't know. Maybe so. Anyway, so we're having a little chat about Annie. But she's a friend of Mitch's as well. Blah, blah, blah. And she's making out she's a friend of Annie's. They went to college together. That's who she really came to Bodega Bay to see. But he knows that's not true. Anyway, here comes Jessica Tandy as Mitch's mother, Lydia. Not sure how they did this shot. Is it a wide angle lens shot? 'Cause everything's in focus, isn't it? No split diopters or anything. Jessica Tandy, I'm used to seeing her as an old woman. I mean, she wasn't young. In this 1963, and she was 54. She was 54 in this. I'm used to seeing her in, Driving Miss Daisy and Batteries Not Included and Cocoon and all them sort of films. Where she was like in the 70s and 80s. She looks totally different to me. I think she looks totally different. But anyway, here she is playing Lydia, Mitch's mother. I think Mitch is supposed to be round about 30 years old in this film. Same as, I think they're supposed to be about the same age. In real life, they're the same age. And when this film came out, they were both 33. Were Rod Taylor and Tippi Hedren. And he's got an 11-year-old sister. So it's like there's supposed to be like a 19-year age gap between them. But whatever. Anyway, so we learn that Lydia is very possessive of her children, particularly Mitch. She doesn't like any of his girlfriends and all that stuff. But he's not a mother's boy or anything like that. But she just never likes any of his girlfriends. Not that she's his girlfriend yet. But anyway, she's saying she's staying at Annie's because remember Annie's had that. Annie's her friend, but she's also got a room to let. And she's going to have to make a phone call in a bit. Or does she call? No, I think she called. I think she's going to call here. Yes. Is that room available? Yes. So she's going to stay at Annie's for a night or two. Suzanne. Also starring Suzanne Plachette. I always remember that from Mystery Science Theatre 3000. The Thing That Couldn't Die. One of my favourite episodes. And Suzanne Plachette's not in that. Right, look, the birds are doing stuff, flying about as birds do, but in a sinister way. Justin's been checking up stuff, hasn't it? It's a new building, but built on the same spot. Original burned down, but rebuilding was on the same spot. History lesson, yes, thank you, Justin. He is a mama's boy. He's not. He's looking after his mother, isn't he? Because he's only there at the weekends. He goes up the weekend to see his mother and his sister, and he spends through the week he's in San Francisco. And apparently, she says Mitch does whatever he wants. But I don't think he's not a mother's boy. I don't think he is anyway. But Justin thinks differently. But that's fine. Anyway, right. So you've got lots of day for night shots, by the way. In this you can tell, can't you? Right, so here she is at Shea Brenner. And there we go. All right. Here we see a young Veronica Cartwright. Remember, she played what's her name now? One of the characters in Alien. What did she play in Alien? I'm blanking. Never mind. She's in Alien, isn't she? As a grown-up. There she is as a kid. She had her 13th birthday while this was filming. They got her a big cake. Justice says, I like the dark hair lady. She is hot. Suzanne Plachette. I'm sure she's super famous in America, but I don't know what she's been in. I don't know. I'm going to look it up now, just out of curiosity. What's she been in? In lots of films. Ooh. The Shaggy DA and stuff like that. Route 66, Hong Kong. She were in Hong Kong, which I think had Rod Taylor in. Yes, it did. Dr. Kildare. She were in that. Wild Wild West, the series. She were in. The Invaders. We mentioned that. A Quinn Martin production. Loads of TV. Anyway, there we go. Hey. Anyway, so there you go. She gives Miss Melanie a big hug. Thanks her for the lovebirds and all that. And we can see that Lydia's not happy. She just wants her to go. But anyway. We learned that Lydia, because they're on a farm, they've got a farm. We learned that Lydia's chickens have stopped eating. So she's on the phone to the fella that she bought the chicken feed off. So, my chickens are not eating the chicken feed. We learned that another fella saying it's your feed, it's rubbish. It's obviously, chickens are always hungry. If they're not eating, it's obviously something to do with the feed. And he tells her actually he's had the phone call from somebody in the next farm over, and his chickens won't feed either. But he got a different sort of food, so it's obviously not that. It's the chickens, because they're birds, obviously. They want human flesh, don't they? They've got a taste for it somehow. For some reason, the lovebirds never try and attack them. I don't know why. So she's on the phone to the fella. Right. Later on, they've had dinner. So they've had dinner, and she's playing the piano, playing the old Joanna. While Kathy, and it's Alice, then Lois, and all them. While Kathy talks to Melanie, oh, me and names, what am I like? And she's talking about, being a lawyer in San Francisco. They usually represents hoods and stuff like that. Because she says they know each other from court and all that. She says Hitchcock writes mothers strange and odd. I can't say I've noticed, but I'll take your word for it. I don't know. I can't say I've paid much attention, to be honest. And I played strange. Well, I don't know. Only one that I can think of, Psycho, but she's dead, isn't she? The mother in that, so I don't know. But he didn't write them, did he? He directs them. So can't blame him. He didn't write them, does he? He's just the director. So he directs strange movies. Anyway, right. So she's obviously she's not winning Lydia, but Kathy, really likes her. Says she's having a surprise birthday party that she knows all about, and she wants Melanie to go, but Melanie said, "I can't." I thought she started to cry. Oh no, it's just that dot into it. I thought she started to cry. I want, I'd like you to come to my birthday party. And I said, well, I can't. I've got to go back and all that. But anyway, they're saying, will you please come? I says, I'm sorry, I can't. Anyway, I think they're going to have a bit of falling out in a minute as she goes. All right, so we learn that Lydia knows about Melanie from the newspapers. There was an escapade in Rome where she jumped into a fountain and got into trouble for that. She was naked, but we're going to have a big row about that in a minute as she's leaving. So she's saying, that was all taken out of context. She was pushed into the fountain. She was fully clothed, and the newspaper that reported it were a competitor to her dad's newspaper and all that. Lucy says, well, yes, but he had strong input. Well, yes, he did, because he's Alfred Hitchcock, isn't it? Always thought Connery would have been good as Mitch. Yeah, probably. Connery, I think, will be the next Hitchcock film, won't he? Marnie, which I've never seen. And Tippi Hedren's in that as well. I think came out a year later. I don't know why there was a 3-year difference gap between Psycho and The Birds, because he could rattle out films really quickly. Maybe it was the special effects and stuff that needed the extra time. But anyway, so they're going to kind of have a blazing row here about that, and they're going to part ways, essentially as enemies. She came up here. She was going to do one of her pranks and stuff like that with a nasty note for Mitch, but she said, I changed my mind. I thought it's about time I grew up, and she wrote the note for Kathy. She thought she'd do a good thing for a change. But anyway, so off she drives. She's driving away. Mitch looks and sees superimposed birds and thinks, "Ooh, they look weird," and goes back inside. Right, so she's arrived back at Annie Hayworth's. And I did have, when I was watching it earlier on, I thought, oh, when did this happen? I'd missed the scene where she books a room essentially at Annie's, and I thought, when did this happen? So I had to go back and check. Anyway, so they're going to have a wee drinky. There we go. And we're going to learn that Annie moved up to Bodega Bay because of Mitch. Mitch invited her up, I think it was 4 years earlier. It was just after Mitch's father had died, Lydia's husband. Justice says that this is a great movie, worth watching. It is an underrated Hitchcock film. As I said, it's one of my favourites. Not my top favourite, but one of them. Where were we? Yes. It's Mitch's dad passed away, Lydia's husband, and she's kind of never really got over it. She does explain a bit later. And about that time, he invited Annie up to meet his mother, to meet Lydia, and Lydia didn't like her, but she stayed around. She got a job there as a school mom. She runs the school there, and she's been there ever since. And says now she gets on with Lydia because her and Mitch, are not a thing, but she still does hold a candle or a torch or whatever the phrase is, for Mitch. You can tell she's still madly in love with him, but they're not an item. So she gets on with Lydia now because she's not a threat. Anyway, so there we go. So that's what they're talking about. In this scene, good old vinyl. I bet they're 78s in the background. Anyway, so there we go. Right, so anyway, she's going to get off to bed now. But before she goes to bed, there's a bang at the door, or a knock. I think it's a knock, but there's a bang. After they've done wittering on about Mitch. Yes, the phone rings first. I forgot about that. The phone rings, and it's Mitch, and it's for Melanie. And he basically talks her in to go into Kathy's party. Justy says, "Man, you didn't see it, correct?" No, I haven't seen it. And I've got all of Hitchcock's films, and I've never got round. There's loads of them I've not got round to watching. I've not seen Marnie. So no, I'm sure it's really good because it's a Hitchcock film, and I love Hitchcock's films. Hitchcock. Anyway, he talks her into staying for Kathy's birthday party. So she says, "Okay, then I'll stay. I will be there." So she knows there's where is she? She knows there's Annie. Mitch has reeled another one in like he did with her. Girls find him irresistible because he's Rod Taylor and he's got the Australian gruffness. I've never seen him. He's kind of got a natural. He's not got like a thick Australian accent. When you see interviews and stuff, he's a bit like George Lazenby. He didn't have like a thick Australian accent, but I think it got thicker as he got older. But yeah, he's Australian. He always plays like either Americans or British people. I know him from The Time Machine, and he did a voice for 101 Dalmatians, which is my favourite Disney cartoon. It is. I love 101 Dalmatians. Beardy Brits is here in the pool watching. Blind. Don't fall in the pool with the TV or whatever you got it on. Just as I like Mitch, but he likes the wrong girl. Because you like Suzanne Plachette, don't you? You like Annie. Why can't I have you both? I'd buy that for $1. Anyway. Right, so she's got to 90. Right, there's a bang at the door. Is someone there? Who is it? So just the door. It's a dead seagull that's smashed its way into the door. So that's a weird thing. He's probably lost his way in the dark. And she goes, but it's not dark. Even though you can see outside, it is quite dark. I mean, it's not pitch black, is it? But you can see it is. It's obviously what they call it, a trans light, isn't it? But it's a full moon. There's a full moon somewhere in the sky. Anyway, next day, it's the party. By the way, she wears the same clothes all the way through the film. Remember, it takes place over like a couple of days, and she wasn't expecting to stay, was she? So she's wearing the same green outfit all the way through the film. And apparently, the wardrobe department, Edith Head or whatever, made 6 identical outfits for her. So she isn't wearing the same outfit every time. I don't know what the length of filming was, by the way. What does it say here? Filming March to July, crikey. Filming dates. So what's that? March, April, May, June. It's like 4 months shooting. Bloody hell. Bloody hell. Anyway. Right, so here they are. Walking amongst the Jews. I think this is in the studio, do you reckon? They're outside there, obviously. As I said, Hitchcock hated filming on location. And so now they're in the studio. You can tell there's matte painting in the background. And all that. You can tell it's in the studio. But it still looks cool. I love like, old films that obviously filmed in studios. Something about the lighting and everything. It looks very cozy, doesn't it? Just as Melanie would have never stayed in Bodega Bay. No, she's a free spirit. She'd have been off. She'd have been bored, wouldn't she? She'd have been off. Don't think not even Mitch Brenner's wiles would have tempted her to stay there. But anyway, so here she's saying that she does. He says, you know, she's got to go back for Monday because she's got to go to work. And says, "What? You've got a job?" And she says, "I've got several jobs." We learn she hasn't really. She does like charity work, and a couple of days she does charity stuff, and then she goes. She's doing a course on something. It's semantics, a course on semantics, where she's learning swear words apparently, which is what she wanted the minor bird for, and then she does something another day. I can't remember what. What else? What else is the other one? Never mind. Mondays to Thursdays keeps herself busy. Friday she's got off. Anyway. So you see, oh, there we go. So she's got an Aunt Tessa. I thought it was Tessa, but I couldn't remember. She's got an Aunt Tessa. Who the minor birds were for. She's very prim and proper, and she's over in Europe, and she got the minor bird as a present for her Aunt Tessa. She's going to learn it to say swear words to shock her Aunt Tessa. I don't think that'll be happening now, do you? Whatever. She would break Mitch's heart in the end. Yes, she would. All women break your heart. Don't matter if they're Tippi Hedren or not. Oh, Melanie Daniels. Anyway, so there we go. So that's one of her pranks. That's one of her pranks. But, it says there. Hang on, what's this? Oh, you need a mother's care, he says to her. And she gets angry then because we learned that her mother ditched her when she was 11, buggered off to somewhere or other. And she's not seen her since. So she gets angry about that. And I know she has a little cry, maybe. Says, I don't know where she is. Almost crying. She putting it on. I don't know. I can't tell with women, can I? Anyway, they go back to the party. I don't know why they'd wandered off away from the party to have a little chat about, whatever. But now they're going back. And they're going to get ready to play a game now with the kids, and the birds are coming. Look, because she's doing what's she playing? There you go. Basically blindfold. She got to find somebody. I don't know what they call it, but she's doing that. But then she gets a bird comes and gets her. Look, apparently they put seed on Veronica Cartwright's head. To make the pigeon, not pigeon, seagull get her. Hitchcock said most of the birds, these were crows and seagulls. There were some others as well. We see some like sparrows and stuff. They said that the crows were the smartest, which obviously they are. Crows are really smart, aren't they? But it said the seagulls were the most vicious. They were the ones that always attacked people. And there were one bird in particular, but I don't know what sort it is. It's in the IMDb trivia. That didn't like Rod Taylor. I don't know if it was a seagull or a crow, whatever, I don't know. And he says it'd attack him every time he got near it. He says, it hated him and he hated it. Anyway. Just is not a Melanie fan, but he loves this movie. It is a cool film. A bit over long. It's like 2 hours, just short of 2 hours. Could trim off at least 25 minutes, couldn't they? When I was Justin. When I was a lad, as a wee lad, I thought this was a comedy. It does have some funny moments, I suppose. Anyway, so and then all the birds start attacking the kids now. All the seagulls now, like, oh, crikey! So they're all getting attacked by seagulls. Oh, look, they're popping balloons. The party poopers are these seagulls, and all the kids are falling over. And there's some rude balloons, and look, they're getting the kids. I think this is a real seagull. It looks it. Is it? It looks like it is, isn't it? It's a real one that Rob Taylor grabs and throws away. Because some of them are real. And there's a seagull getting this. Is that a real girl? Is it? Or is it a puppet girl? I don't know. Because that seagull's really going for her, isn't it? She's probably got like a pot of seed or something or whatever, or some mackerel or whatever. But anyway, so she goes and saves her. Go away, bird! Anyway, so all the kids get inside eventually, and he says, that makes 3 times. And Mitch says, what's she on about? He says, well, I got attacked by a seagull in the boat, and last night a seagull flew into the door, and now this. Just what's going on? Justin says, this part was funny. Hey, poor kids. Anyway. Gary says, is it Mel Brooks' High Anxiety, which does a skit on this? I've not seen it. I know of the film, but I've never seen it. This where he's sat on a park bench and the birds are shitting on him. I wouldn't be surprised. I've never seen High Anxiety. I don't think I have, anyway. Don't think I have. But I know of it. Is it the one that's kind of a thing on Vertigo as well? They do a lot of Hitchcock films in it. They mustn't. So I remember seeing the trailer for it. It's supposed to be like Vertigo as well, isn't it? Anyway, so this is saying, what's going on with the birds? Don't know. Anyway, so she's gone back for dinner. I guess having dinner again at the Brenners, and suddenly they're gonna just out of nowhere. Loads of birds are gonna like chirping grows louder. Look, and they're fluttering of wings, and then suddenly loads of sparrows come out of the chimney. Look, bloody hell! And I'm guessing there's not many actually in the scene. They look it's good superimposed. I don't think there's many actually in the room with them. I think they're just doing that. But it looks pretty good. Where the camera moves, they don't look like, when you superimpose something over a scene and then move the camera, and the superimposed stuff moves with the camera. There's none of that going on. Not that I can see anyway. It looks pretty cool. Gary says yes. Oh, I've run about with the High Anxiety. She says, I was a kid. Sorry, forgive me. It was funny. That's fine. That's fine. I'm not criticizing. I'm not judging you. I had this happen to me, but it was Yellow Jackets. All right. Are they insects? Are they like, I don't know. Are they like grasshoppers or whatever, or are they like wasps? Like wasps, aren't they, Yellow Jackets? I got attacked by wasps last summer before. I've told this story before, haven't I? But my compost heap, I thought I'll check on my compost heap. I didn't know wasps had made a nest in there. They all came swarming out and got me. Got stung about 10 times. It was horrible. Yes, everybody's telling me. The wasps, they're like bees and wasps and hornets. Yes, all like bees and wasps. Anyway. And that baddie from Ant-Man, he was a Yellow Jacket. Anyway, so there are all these are supposed to be sparrows, by the way. I think there's all different sorts of birds. There's a bloody grouse or something there, but anyway, whatever. So they're all flying about, and it goes on a bit too long, I must admit, this scene. He blocks up the chimney again, and he's trying to get them outside. He opens the window and he's trying to get them outside. They get out to another room, and then I suppose he takes care of the rest of them. Because then we have a move to the next scene, passage of time. Justin says he got stung 25 times. Not nice, is it? It's not nice. That's a good job. Hopefully you weren't allergic, like I found out. I'm not allergic to bee stings, wasp stings, or whatever. But yes, glad you weren't allergic. Yes. On your brother as well. It's not nice, the little bastards out there wiping out. Keep the bees. Bees are fine. But the wasps and all them others. Anyway, where were we? All right, princess. She's looking at me. I'm over there. Right, so here we go. They've called the police because, birds attack. He called the police for some reason. I don't know why. And he doesn't believe them. They say, oh, that's a sparrow, all right. And it's called Owl, by the way, not AI. We know what it is, Owl. And they say, you have the light on. I said, yeah, there's no light going up the chimney, is there? But obviously, he don't really believe them, even though the evidence is right there. The room's wrecked. Look, there's probably dead birds and feathers everywhere. But, but they're saying, the birds attacked us. It was, a coordinated attack, and they're saying, no, not really. I think the policeman was just saying it's one of those things. He says, yeah, I was looking, but in pain for a week and a little swelling. Yes, it's not nice. It's not nice. I called out the council to come and get rid of the wasp nest, and which they did. And the poor lass that came, I don't think she was expecting this wasp nest to be maybe as big as it was. I don't know. She got stung a few times as well, and she got a big. She went, so I better go and get me stuff. So she went and got her stuff, and blasted the buggers with poison or whatever. It says, I saw a video of some kids thinking that Weird Al is Weird AI and just AI generic parodies. That sounds about right for today's kids. Surprisingly, pool water relieved it fast. Cool. Is it the chlorine, do you reckon? Maybe? Anyway, so Lydia and Melanie are kind of going to get closer together now. Not like best mates or anything, but the circumstances are bringing them together. Anyway, what I don't know what he's doing here. He's like he's burying something. Well, it's next day, and what's he burying? I don't know. I don't think it tells us. What's he doing? He's out there doing something, but I don't know what. Maybe it's just farm work. I don't know. But anyway. So she stayed there the night, obviously, as Melanie, in a nice nightie that she bought from the store. And Lydia's taking Kathy to school, and she says after she's done that, she's going to go over to Dan Fawcett's farm. That's the fella that we're also having trouble with his chickens. And this is going to be the first death in the film. It says, regarding the pool water, the bubbles were air trapped. Not me relaxing. You can smell it. Anyway, so off she goes to the Fawcett farm. She's dropped off Kathy at school, and here she arrives. There's some bloke there. Don't know. Maybe she says his name. That's not him. That is just a worker. Did she say his name? I don't know. In a old Ford pickup truck, which kind of reminds me of. It's probably isn't the same one, but it gives me Superman vibes. The pickup truck that Jonathan and Martha Clark Kent had in the Superman films. Remember that? Or maybe it reminds me of the pickup truck from the 37s, Edwin Grace. I don't know. Lucy says, yeah, and it being cool, but for a week I was hurting, spent a night in hospital just to make sure nothing happened. Nice old truck, it is. Anyway, back to the film. Not talking about us all being attacked by mad mutant insects that are taking over the world. It's birds this time. Does she say his name? I don't know if she says his name. George, there we go. George. So he says no. He says, "Is Mr. Fawcett?" And I says, "No, I've not seen him. All morning. I'm sure he's in the house." So she goes to the house. She knocks on the door. She does knock, but no answer. She tries it, and it's open. So she goes in, and she notices that these cups are broken. Don't know what's happened there. Well, we know, don't we? Obviously, the birds don't like cups, china, or whatever. I don't know if there's to be any other damage though. There's the bottle of sauce or whatever on the table. They look fine, don't they? They just taken out the cups for some reason. Look, you can see the broken crockery there. Weird. Very targeted attack on the hanging cups for some reason. Anyway, just looking around saying, Dan, are you around? Dan. Anyway, she goes She goes down the corridor. She goes past the room. She sees it's all in disarray with dead seagulls stuck in the window and the dead birds as well in the on the bed. A dead crow. So on the dead tree. So seagulls and crows working together. Cats and dogs and all that stuff. More birds as well, isn't there? And a shoe. And this is where we're going to find Dan. I forgot his name already. Whatever. There he is, looking quite dead. And she looks round. We get a quick glimpse. This is probably the goriest bit of the film. There we go. He's had his eyes pecked out. It doesn't linger on it. Just it says, man, we Americans made some nice stuff back in the day. Yes, you did. You probably make some nice stuff now, I imagine. Come on, you're going on. There we go. Like that guy didn't check on him before she did. He might have just. So I imagine it's quite early, I suppose. Isn't it? She's just taken Kathy to school. So, I don't know, 8:30, 9 o'clock, whatever. I don't know. Maybe he's just got in and he knows what jobs is to do, so he's just got on with his work and not bothered checking on his boss. You know, I'm guessing. Anyway, she comes staggering out. Oh, she doesn't say anything to him. She's just choking. She's just like going. He just gets in a truck and drives off. And so I imagine George will now go in and see what's happened, and he'll say, "Lydia Brenner's murdered Dan." He don't. And she drives home, and I don't know what they're up to. Is she throwing up or something over the fence? But she gets out and they go, "Mother!" She's like, "Oh, what's going on?" and stuff. Then anyway, so then we have another passage of time, and we see Mitch come back in. There we go. He's just going out. No, he's going out. And the deputy's just called. The AI deputy has just called, and wants Mitch to go over to the Fawcett place. Remember, he's a lawyer. I don't know. Maybe he wants some legal advice. I don't really know. Or maybe it's because he's Lydia's son. Whatever. It's to go over, and the Santa Rosa police are going to be there as well. And now we see, look, they're all in love now. Look, and they're even going to kiss in a minute. Oh, there we go. So Bob's your uncle. They're in love. They hated each other 24 hours ago. Is that how fast Cupid's arrow can strike? Obviously so. Anyway, so she's making some tea. Lydia's, by the way. Lydia has taken to her bed. That's how she's taking some tea for her. So they're now going to have a little rapprochement as Lydia and Melanie. And she's going to tell her all about her husband dying and she hasn't handled it well and all that stuff. And she thanks her for the tea and all that. She says she's worried about Kathy. She says, will Kathy be all right at school? And she says, well, do you want me to go and get her? So she says, yes, if you wouldn't mind. So they're kind of getting on. She even thanks her and stuff like that. Anyway. So yeah. So then she's talking about her husband, that she misses him and all that stuff. And he were good with the kids and she were never really good with the kids. So, right. So any minute now. Maybe. Would you like me to go for her? So she says, okay. So she thanks her. She says, thank you, Melanie. Thanks for the tea. Right, so she's driving over to the school and we can hear the kids singing in school. Can't remember the name of the song. Something like Rappledy-Doodly or something, I don't know. Which is an old folk song, but it wasn't long enough for this scene. Because they wanted them to be the kid. Hitchcock wanted us to hear the kids singing all the way through this scene. So whoever did the music, whoever wrote this song, I can't remember who. It might be the script writer, I can't remember. Added loads more verses, and he says he still gets royalties. Or when they did the documentary for this, still got royalties to that day for this song. Because he had to join the American, American thing in Mob of Composers or something, so he could get royalties. So we can hear the kids singing this song, and so she goes in and she voices, mouths to her. I can have a word. So give us a minute. So she goes and sits outside by the jungle gym or whatever they call them over there. Climbing frame, we call them in the UK. So she goes and has a sit down. And as she's sitting down, we can tell she's not really there. Look, she's got the old, she's superimposed, isn't she? Probably in a studio. As she's sitting there we go. Some birds start appearing, not quite flocking yet, gathering. Some crows, and as we're looking, more and more start arriving. There we go. And they're still singing, other kids, as she's smoking a cigarette. Because back in those days, cigarettes were good for you. Anyway, she notices a crow. She hasn't noticed them behind her yet, by the way. It's behind her. But she sees this one arriving. And that's when she sees what's going on as she watches. And she sees the full horror of the birds. Dun, dun, dun. Justin says, jungle gym or bars? As a week on climbing frames, because we're frightfully British. I think most of these are fake birds. I think it's this shot. Yeah, I think most of them are fake birds. Because Veronica Cartwright was saying people notice that there's a lot of like either cardboard cutouts or rubber birds or I presume stuffed birds or whatever that they're stuck on. To the guttering and up there and on the climbing frame. But Hitchcock says, no, if you put some, a real bird every so often, nobody will notice. Which you don't do, you don't really. Obviously, some of them aren't moving. But anyway, so she's like, oh, crikey. So she goes inside and she says, we've got to get out of here. Look, she said, close that door. We've got to get out of here because the birds are amassing. So I said, right. So we're doing a fire drill. We're going to run for our lives, basically. So that's what happened. She said, we're going to head down the road, and then when I say run, we run. And if some of you, can go home, go home. Otherwise, we'll head into, I don't know, somewhere in town. I think the hotel, she said. Yeah, hotel. So off they go, being all quiet. Yes, good. These are all real birds, aren't they? Because they all set off at once. Any second now, there we go. They were real birds. And they're running already. The kids next shot, look, they're off. They're going. The poor kids. Anyway, so obviously the kids in the background, they're obviously on location, but these kids in the foreground, when you see them up close like these, they're actually on a treadmill. And Veronica Cartwright was saying it was a bit dodgy with that treadmill, because if you tripped up and fell, that was it. The whole lot of them were going. So it was a big treadmill that they were running on in the studio, obviously. And I think sometimes they're getting puppet birds to get the kids, and I think some of them look real, don't some of the birds. Obviously, most of them are superimposed, but when it shows them up close, there's like puppet birds and all that. But some of them look real. That looked like a real bird that flew past, didn't it? Anyway, poor kids. But anyway, so all the kids are getting attacked, and one poor lass trips up and her glasses break. And that'd be me knackered. Look, she's all. And Kathy saves her, and Melanie, and they all get into some poor bloke's car that just happens to be there. And anyway, but then all the birds fly away, thankfully, and they head down to the Tides again, the Tides restaurant. And a new batch of customers in. Sorry, Justin, this part was scary. The strange thing, birds here do get together like that. Yeah, well, birds of a feather and all that. The power line scenes, we have flocks of birds that do that. Yes. I don't think we've got any power lines around here, so we comment. You get lots of seagulls around KFC. We're nowhere near the sea, but and McDonald's. basically the food places and the tip, the rubbish tip, or dump, you call it. Lots of seagulls there, but we're like, 70 miles from the sea. But anyway. Right, so anyway, she's phoning up her dad, the newspaper mogul, are telling him all about it, that birds are attacking people in Bodega Bay, and birds attack the school kids and all that. And he sounds, suspicious and all that stuff. But anyway, in comes whatever she's called, I've forgotten, Mrs. something or other, I'll tell you. Is it Mrs. Magruder? That don't sound right. Is it Mrs. Bundy? I think she's Mrs. Bundy, played by Ethel Griffiths, who were in her 80s apparently, and she had to memorise these bird names. She says this film did have a nice touch of realism. Well, that's what Hitchcock was going for, wasn't it? He didn't want it to be like supernatural. It was just like, we don't know why the birds are attacking, but they just are. But there's nothing supernatural about it. It's just birds are flocking together and just attacking people for no apparent reason. Obviously, the birds have a reason, but we never find out what it is. Because he said, as I said at the beginning, if he tried to explain it, it'd be more like science fiction. It'd end up being like, Day of the Triffids or something like that. So the old lady has a great part. Yes, she's obviously an expert on birds, but she won't be saying that and they're pecking her face off, will she? But anyway. So there she's still telling them all about that. And then she's going about the crow, Corvus brachyrhynchos, and all that stuff. She's saying birds don't attack people and all that. And if they did, we'd be done for, because there's a 50 billion birds in the world or something like that. And then him at the bar, it's the end of the world. Where is he? I missed him. There he is. It's the end of the world. He's quoting scripture at him. It was apparently based on a friend of Hitchcock's, apparently. Birds have had enough of our BS. Yes. Anyway. So they're all talking about it, and there's one particular family, there they are, she's worried that they're scaring the kids. They're there having their dinner, or their lunch. And they says, can you stop talking about all this? You're scaring me kids. And he's like going, are the birds going to eat us, mother? Or mom? No, of course they're not. Maybe she's saying, look, could you have to lower their voices, please? She gets really cross later on. Anyway, in comes a fisherman. Does he have a name? Have a look. I don't know. Never mind. Don't know. Anyway, he comes in. It's where we learn that in the last week, so it's been going on for a few days now in Bodega Bay, that fishermen have been attacked out at sea. There we go. A whole flock of gulls nearly capsized one of my boats. Practically tore the skipper's arm off. But he ends up thinking, well, I'm sure there's a perfectly logical explanation and all that stuff. Like she's on about now is birds have been around for 140 million years, and if they want to turn on us, we'd be done for, because there's 5 billion in the US alone, said 50 billion in the world or whatever. He's saying everybody should get guns, kill them all, get rid of the messy animals. So I don't know what he's got against birds, but he'll have something against them in a bit. He's going to get blown up by them. The Drunkard was great also. He's like Mick in The Quiet Man, another film I've not bloody seen. I keep mentioning films I've never got round to watching. Oh dear. He's still saying it's the end of the world. And, anyway, I says birds of different species never flock together, but we've seen that they do. But anyway, she's getting cross now, and they're heading for San Francisco. I say, I'm going that way. You can follow me, says this fella, but he's not going to. Anyway, they're talking about Dan. I forgot his name. The farmer that were killed, and the Santa Rosa police think it's a murder. So I can explain the birds. So I think they came in after. Somebody went in and murdered him, murdered Dan, and then the birds came in afterwards. Great police work. But anyway, whatever. But anyway, so they're all talking about what to do. Anyway, they're going. He's going as well, but he's got to go and. No, somebody's filling their car up in a minute. Nobody really thinks anything's going on, but they start hearing the commotion outside, the noise of the birds and stuff. Here we go. And we're going to see a seagull's going to attack this fella. Hang on, I've missed it. I've gone past it. Here we go. This fella's filling his car up. Oh, no, I think he's filling somebody else's. He works there, don't he? You can tell. And then, so the seagull knocks him flying, and then petrol, probably gasoline, starts flowing down the hill. TOYG, not a fan of the Duke. All right, it's John Wayne. I've just not seen that one. I've seen how many John. I can't think how many John Wayne films I've seen. The Searchers. Seen that one. I'm blanking. Anyway, whatever. Right, so now they see the gasoline, aka petrol, is running down the hill. There it goes. To the fella that we saw in the bar that was saying, "Kill all the birds." We see he's by his car, his salmon-coloured car. There it is. And he's going to light his cigar. He doesn't notice. Obviously, he's no sense of smell. But there's a smoker in it. And they're all shouting, "Don't light your cigar!" There we go. And then his car just blows up because he throws his match away. Like that, I think. But then his car just blows up randomly under there for some reason. So I'm guessing there was a bird underneath with a flint like that. A suicide bird. Can't say that word on YouTube. Sorry. I didn't say that. Anyway, his car blows up. Boom! There we go. And quite brutal, actually. You can actually see burning there. There we go. Propped up against his car. They're like, ah! And then it gets all a bit. Oh, I've missed it. It gets all a bit blazing saddles. You can find it if it does it here now. Because round the corner, a bloody horses and cart comes. Is it going to do it in a minute? It might be in a minute. But then we get a nice aerial shot. This is supposed to be people thinking it's the view of the birds, but I think Hitchcock said it's the view of God. Whatever he means by that. But it's not actually real. The middle part's real, that with the fire and all that. But the rest of it's a matte painting by Albert Whitlock, which is really cool, isn't it? There's some other little cutouts where he's left gaps, so you can see some people moving about. There we go. But all the buildings and stuff are all painted. It's a matte painting. Here come the birds. Look, here they come. Look, bloody things. Look, no, they're attacking people now. Look, she's going to hide in the phone booth. Maybe she thinks she's Supergirl. She's going to turn and is this where the horse and cart just comes out of nowhere? Here it comes in a minute. All the birds are flying about. Come on, where's this horse and carriage or whatever it is? And yeah, they're all attacking her. She can't get out. She's trapped in the phone. If she tries to get out, the birds start pecking at her. So she's trapped in the phone booth. They're all crashing. Look, everybody's panicking and crashing the cars and stuff. Where's this bloody horse and car? Because I'd actually laughed out loud. I lolled. Look, it's all going wrong. Come on, horse and cart. Look, she can't get out. Look. Dear. Here comes the fire brigade. Diddly din 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 din. Pew, Barney McGrew, Cuthbert Dribble Grub. Come on, horse and cart, where are you? Because it's just like, people driving about in cars. There's this bloody horse and cart around. What the bloody hell is it? I better have gone past. Oh, here they are. Look, just round the corner. It's out of a western that were being shot. Just round the corner. Here they come. Nobody at the wheel, so to speak. Just random, wasn't it? Oh dear. But anyway, so the birds are all attacking. Here comes Mitch. Oh, right, she got this may be one of the scenes where she was thinking that Hitchcock had it in for her a little bit. I don't know, but she was told it was shatterproof glass that were in the phone booth, and they were throwing dummy seagulls at her. They said, the glass won't break; it'll be fine. And then it did, and little shards of glass all went in her face, and they said they were picking bits of glass off her. I don't know if she got cut or not. But anyway. Justice says that would not happen unless the vapour ignited, which implied the match dropped and lit the gas on the ground. I think they did the Mythbusters, didn't they? That showed that a lit cigarette won't ignite, gasoline, petrol, whatever you want to call it. It's not hot enough, is it? So, but it's a movie. It was scary. Them started to fly in. Ooh, me. Yes. Pressing the wrong button again. There we go. I think it might be this one. There we go. That one that it shocked her and little bits of glass all went in her face. It might be some went in her eye, or it might be I don't know which part. She got some glass or something, or something happened with her eye, and she injured her eye. And then later on, she gets a real bird scratches her on the face, close to her eye, and that was a breaking point for her. But that's later on, near the end. Anyway, he saves her. Here he comes. Look, he gets her out. Look, there we go, and saves her. They go running into the tides, which seems to be some sort of safe haven for some reason. They're not flying in through the windows. I don't know why. They're just not. But there's nowhere to be seen. For some reason, they're all huddled in this corridor, this safe corridor. Anyway, she's going to kick off now. Is this mother? I'm trying to find a name. I'm not going to see it. There we go. Doreen Lang is the actress. Hysterical mother in Diner. She's going to kick off in a minute because she's going to blame Melanie for it all. Here she has, look. And said that they said when you got here, the whole thing started. Crying, and he says, "You're evil." And I think you're evil, evil. And she gives her a good old slap. And Tippi Hedren, this is her first film, remember? Tippi Hedren's first film. And the actress, Doreen Lang, had said, in this scene, I really want you to slap me hard. He says, I can't do that. I said, it's a film. I'm not going to hit you, really. He says, no, I want you to hit me really hard, and then we'll get the reaction. And so she said, okay. So she did. And I think both the reactions are genuine. Because I think Tippi Hedren's shocked that she's hit her. I don't know how many takes they did. But she gives her a good slap. But, and then they go, oh, cracker, I did it. Is that a cut? Anyway, so I shut it up anyway. And then I think the birds are flying away now. Look, they're going away. Because they seem to do it they attack in waves. They attack and then they fly away, settle down for a bit, and then, I don't know, they must be planning their next adventure. Campaign, should I say. She's still alive, Tippi. Yes, she is. Yes. God bless. 96. This is 96. Yes, I know she's still alive. Bless her. Anyway, so yes, they're going to go checking on Annie. So they're going back up to Annie's house. There's loads of birds there. Is it this now? Yes, because they find Annie's dead. The birds have got her. She's there on the path. There she is. And he goes to check on her, and she's dead. And Suzanne Plachette, apparently the makeup people, the prosthetic people, whatever, had made it so it looked like one of her ears had been ripped off by the birds. And she was really excited about it, having this gore. And then Hitchcock filmed the other side of her head. There we go. So we don't see her ear ripped off. There's a bit of blood on there, but the one that is all hanging off is on the other side. That's typical, isn't it? But anyway, so poor Annie's dead. She says, "Where's Kathy?" Anyway, she's in the house. And I actually got a bit emotional watching a bit in a minute where Kathy's telling them what happened. Because Veronica Cartwright's pretty good at being hysterical, even when she was a 13-year-old kid. Anyway. Justice says, if I was pals with Mitch and in this movie, I would punch him for this part. Oh, what's he doing wrong? What's he doing wrong? Don't like Mitch, does Justin. Don't like Melanie. Crikey. Anyway, so I was going to cover her up. And oh my God, he's going to throw stones at the bird, you know, as if they're not angry enough. And then she stops him. There's Melanie, and she says, "Don't leave her there." So off screen, we hear him shuffling about and moving Annie's body. He takes Annie's body inside the house, and there he says, "Don't leave her there." So we're just watching those, and we can hear the noises of him moving her, which is cool. Anyway, so the birds are obviously bothered. Anyway, so they set off. They're going to go, I don't know, back home, I suppose. I can't remember. I think they are. And this is where she says that, you know, Annie pushed me inside. The birds were flying about, and Annie pushed me inside, and then they all got her. And she's all, you know, hysterical and all that. And I say, I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, God. You know what I'm like. Anyway, right, they get so back at the Brenner farm. In films, everybody's always got enough wood to cover all the windows, haven't they? I'd be knackered if something like that happened. But luckily, we don't have that many windows. But anyway, so he's been up his ladder, he's braid loads of wood onto the windows. That's a Yorkshire term, braid. It means, you know, hit, hammered, braid. I'll bray you. Anyway. Poor Annie, my heart is broken. Yes, Justin liked Annie. He did. Justin liked Annie more than Melanie. So it's not true that gentlemen prefer blondes, is it? Anyway, so here he is. He's always calling people darling and dear. Give me another one, darling. And he calls his mother dear and all that stuff. So they're boarding up all the windows. And there we go, saying, look, is it? Pete's sake. Talking about, you know, the calm down. There we go. What is it? She say it. There we go. Seems like a pattern, doesn't it? They strike, they disappear, then start massing again. Look out to town. And you can see all the birds flying about around town. If I can land on it. Where is it? Look at the showers. Hello. Hello. Go on, showers. You're looking out there. We go. We see all the birds flying about around town. There's smoke. I presume that's from the fire and all that, I'm guessing. That is American tradition. You've got to cover up all the windows and doors. By law, you've got to have enough wood to cover it all up. Anyway. Let's check and make sure we're still going. Make sure, yes, we are. Stream is still healthy, it says. Yeah, I'll just check on Rumble, make sure nobody's left any chats in Rumble. I think nobody ever does. I don't think anybody ever watches the Rumble streams. I think they don't. Even though I get, you know, like dozens of views on Rumble, I don't think anybody actually watches it. Then have food stocked and your weapons. That's Josh Temple, isn't it? He's got all his weapons and his food and his harpoons and everything. He's ready. He's ready for the apocalypse, is Josh Temple. Anyway, right. So there goes all the birds flying about. So they're ready for a siege. It kind of becomes a siege film now. Your home is your castle. Must fight to protect it. Ha ha ha. Yeah, whatever. They can have it. They can have my own. Hey. It's rented. It's not mine. Where were we? Oh, they're on the radio. She's turned the radio on. You can hear the radio person. There we go. Talking about that some birds have attacked some people in Bodega Bay, and that's all it is. Now, a group of school children, and then something else has happened, but they're not sure. And they say, "Is that it?" But anyway, so they're got to keep the fire going because so the birds don't come down the chimney. And they've got a thing, to close the flue, like she had in Close Encounters, the big metal. Obviously not. Sorry, I'm a typical American in some ways because you've got to be ready because you're out on the frontier, aren't you, in America? You've got to be ready to defend yourself. Anyway, so they're kind of going to have a bit of a row now. Is Mitch and Lydia? She's getting a bit hysterical. She's saying, "What's going to happen next?" And he's saying, "I don't know. We'll just see what happens." And then we go, and I say, "If only your father was here." And then she says, "Sorry," and all that stuff. And I think it's Jessica Tandy. We all know Jessica Tandy, Oscar-winning actress, but for some reason she doesn't look like Jessica Tandy in this film. But so anyway, they says, "I'm sorry," and they all have a hug and all that stuff. And they're looking out, watching the birds. Anyway, we're building up to an attack soon. I don't know if it's going to happen yet, but they're still sorting stuff out. There's the lovebirds, who for some reason seem unaffected. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they're lovebirds. Just don't know. Anyway, sorry. "We didn't do 1776 to lose it to some birds," says Justin. Exactly. Love your cousin TOYG. And Justin says, "Jessica's looking pretty hot." Yeah, sure. And attractive. What's the word? What did Picard say? Yeah, you're a handsome woman. She was, yes. She was very attractive. Hume Cronin thought so. They were married in like the 40s and stayed married all their lives, didn't they? Anyway, so there's Lovebirds. I'm pressing the right button. In this scene, when I think they start hearing fluttering or noises, they hear the noise of the birds, and it's like gets louder and louder and louder. And obviously, they didn't have those noises on set. And he played a drum, or he had somebody playing a drum, starting quietly and getting louder and louder, until they said it would almost had them screaming, saying, "Stop it, stop it!" And it did the trick. It got the reaction. Anyway. But that's going to happen soon. That's going to get. She's going to go throw up because she's obviously worried, sick, literally. There we go. Hear the crows cawing, and it's like it gets louder and louder because they're coming to attack. Here we are. We can hear them all now. They're all battering on the boards and stuff. And one of the windows comes open. Is it here? Yes. There we go. One of the not windows. What do they call it? Shutters, that's it. One of the shutters has come open, so he's got to struggle to get that shut, and he's fighting with what looks like a real seagull. Is it? I don't know. It looks like a real seagull, doesn't it? So he's fighting with a real seagull through a pane of broken glass. You see the pecking at the door. This is what I mentioned earlier, where there were some hammers with bird heads that they're basically hammering the door with. Maybe he's trying to stuff that seagull. It's got to be a fake one, hasn't it? It looks real though, doesn't it? Maybe it's just a really good puppet. I don't know. Jessica made some very good films. Yeah. That's all I've seen her in is like Cocoon and Batteries Not Included. Maybe one or two others. I don't know. I've never seen Driving Miss Daisy. Never got around to watching that. I've seen that as well. Fried Green Tomatoes, which I've never seen, but I know of it. I've seen that as well. Anyway, don't mention Cocoon 2 as I start crying again. Anyway, so he's still battling with this seagull, trying to get hold of this shutter to close it. And he gets all his arm cut, look, the seagulls are eating him. But he does do it eventually, and he grabs the lamp, rips the cord off the lamp, and ties the shutter. There we go, with the cord off the lamp. And he goes and sorts stuff out. There we go. See, they're getting through this door here now, so he's got to barricade that up with this, whatever that is, a big mirror thing. Is it a hat stand? Some sort of hat stand or something? I don't know what that is. So we've got to deal with that. And then the power goes out. They go, oh no, they're animals, man. It's basically aliens, isn't it? I don't know why the power's gone out. Have they eaten through the power lines? I don't know. But anyway, they're still trying to get in. But then it goes quiet. They all go away, and it goes quiet. Driving Miss Daisy is a great film, worth watching. She won the Academy Award for that one, didn't she? With Jessica Tandy. Don't give up the ship, Mitch. Okay. I've no idea what that's a reference to. Anyway, so they're all resting now because the birds have gone, it seems. But then she hears a noise upstairs, but they're all asleep. And she tries to wake up Mitch, but he won't. He will not rouse. So she's going to go check and have the worst week of her life. The actress, because it was a 7-day filming this scene that lasts, I don't know, a minute, maybe a little bit longer. You see, the lovebirds are fine, but she goes upstairs. She can hear noises from upstairs. Do you know what? Before we get to that, I'm gonna have to go to the loo. I went just before the show started. I'm gonna have to go again. So just look at Tippy Hedren for a minute. I'll be back. Oh, bloody hell. Hey, I'm back, princess. I'm back. Right, where were we? Oh, yes, she's going to investigate these noises by herself because she's stupid. All right, War of 1812, U.S. Navy rallying cry during a battle. The last command of James Lawrence. All right, don't give up the ship. Right, fair enough. Right. So she's going to go check out this noises she can hear from upstairs. Oh, up she goes. And as I said, 7 days this shoot of them basically throwing live birds at her. She was told that this scene they're going to be using like puppets and stuff like that, and it'll be fine. But if for whatever reason, again, this may be Hitchcock being mental for whatever reason because she rebuffed him. I don't know. They decided they were going to use real birds, and they were just going to throw real birds at her for 7 days, and it were horrible for her. She said. So anyway, in she goes to this room. I think it's one of the bedrooms. I assume it's upstairs. See, there's a hole in the roof with loads of birds in it, and then suddenly her coming in disturbs them, and they all start attacking her, and she can't get out now. And see that the real birds are being chucked at her. I don't know why it took a week to film this, but it did. And that's how she's getting basically pecked to death. I imagine this is probably what happened with Dan, that farmer, Fawcett, Dan Fawcett. I imagine this is a similar thing to what happened to him. But we're seeing it happen now. But luckily, she doesn't get her eyes pecked out. But you see the bite, the pecking her and all that. And obviously, she's not really getting cut, but she did get a cut on the face. And that's when it ended. She said, "That's it. I'm not doing anymore." And here we go. So, and also her clothes. This clothes here she's wearing, that's specially designed. I don't know if they put stuff in. I think that might be a puppet, hand puppet thing. I don't know. Does it? Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it? Specially designed so that it pull away, to create this stuff, when the bird's pecked, make it look, ragged and stuff like that. This part, how she's crying for help, was heartbreaking. Yes, because they must hear her because they come upstairs, but she says, I think before she before she collapses, she says, Mitch, and says, get Lydia and Kathy out of here. There we go. Get Lydia and Kathy out of here. So she's not thinking of herself, she's thinking of others. Because she's changed. She's not the same person she was at the beginning of the film. Anyway, they come running up. There we go. He comes up, but she's blocking the door because she's collapsed. And still pecking at her and everything. And he grabs her and pulls her out. And she's unconscious, and he carries her downstairs, but he's not carrying Tippi Hedren downstairs here, because after this scene, so films are generally not filmed in order, but usually the last scene of a film, not all the time, but I think it's some sort of tradition. They try and make the last scene of the film the last one that's shot. Obviously, it doesn't always, it's not always, but it used to be a tradition. I don't know if it is in this case, but anyway. So he's not carrying Tippi Hedren down here because after a week of going through having birds thrown at her every day for a week, she'd had enough, and she kind of, I don't know, she collapsed from exhaustion. She ended up in hospital. After the week, and she said she got a cut, and she said, that's it, we're not doing any more. I think she went to a trailer or whatever, or she went wherever she went, she could get a rest. And she had a lie down. She actually started crying in the middle of the scene, the set. She was crying, and then she went back to her trailer room, whatever she had, went to sleep. And when somebody went to get her, they couldn't wake her up. She was that exhausted. They couldn't wake her up. She ended up in hospital from exhaustion. And that's it. We're near the end of the film, so I think obviously some of the scenes, I don't know if I think that was her last stuff she filmed for the film, maybe, I don't know, but so this scene is not carrying her, he's carrying Tippi Hedren standing. And I think the scenes where we see her after this maybe were filmed before, I don't know, but anyway, so he's carrying not Tippi Hedren down the stairs because she's in hospital. Suffering from exhaustion. I'm guessing these bits were filmed before that. I'm guessing. I don't know. But anyway, so he's going to try and treat her wounds like he did in the diner. But she freaks out a bit because she's just thinking of birds and stuff, and says, "No, everything's okay." But you see, she's shell shocked now. They said, "We've got to get out of here. We've got to get her to a hospital." So anyway. So I said, "We'll go in Melanie's car. It's faster than our pickup truck." So he's going to go and see what's going on. Remember, the birds in the bedroom were attacking her. I think it's just because they're disturbed. Outside, they're just kind of hanging about. And I think this is one of these weird shots. Hitchcock says there's loads of different elements in this. And I can't remember what they were. There's different layers and sections that were all filmed separately, and then printed together optically or whatever. Like these birds here in the foreground is a different. Were filmed separately from the birds in the middle, and then you've got the background. And these birds here were filmed separately as well on either side, and then there's matte painting of the birds up on the wires there and all that. So that's a lot of different elements to this. But anyways, looking out is Mitch. Let's see what's going on. Oh, it's a bird flying. What's going on? Because he's going to go to the garage. And obviously, the garage is not connected to the house, so he's walking by. I think I see there. This crow's got it in for him already. I wonder if this is the bird he didn't like, because he puts his hand there. You can see it's ready. It's ready, look. He's saying he's going to put his hand on there. I'm going to bite him. I'm going to bite him, I am. Are you ready? Come on, Rod. Do it, and I'll bite you. Are you ready? I bet that's it. It says, very eerie scene. Very beautifully done. It is. It's very eerie. Particularly there's no music. I wonder what this film would be like if they'd done music for it. Would it be better or worse? I don't know. But, so there we go. So he goes to check the garage because Melanie's parked her car in the garage. And he's going to check the radio. Because the power's out in the house, so they mustn't have a transistor radio or whatever in the house, and it's battery powered. So he will learn that other places have been attacked as well, but they've stopped now. The bodega base seems to be the centre, and they're talking about sending in the troops and stuff like that. Santa Rosa and Sebastopol, I thought they were in Russia. Most of the townspeople are bugging off. Look, discussions whether the military should go in. And it's some people. There are people in isolated pockets that are hunkering down like these. But these have got to get out. So he opens up the door. And he drives the car around slowly. And right, so he's going to go get them now. They're all ready to go. Look, she's all bandaged up. And right, here we go. This is a good scene because this is the door opening scene with no door. As you can see, they're going down, the passage to the front door, and we see Mitch open up the door. Look, he's reaching out to open the door, turning doorknob, and then the light comes in. But there's no door there because obviously the camera's there, isn't it, and the camera crew and everything. So obviously they couldn't have a door. So there's no door there. He just pretended to open the door and they just shone a light as though the door were opening. And what was it? Somebody, Veronica Cartwright. Veronica Cartwright, I think, said that Hitchcock said that's the magic of movies, which it kind of is. Simple stuff like that is the magic of movies, isn't it? Just it says, I like you hear the birds and the people. It really puts you into the movie, but some music would help. It'd be nice to have a bit every now and again, wouldn't it? The DVD kind of shows a storyboard of them leaving and going to the city, and the birds are there too. Yeah, there is a scene that were in the script for after this bit, and I don't know if it's because she was incapable of doing any more. I don't know, but they dropped it. Maybe they couldn't do it for budget or whatever. I don't know, but anyway. Being a British selling about fried green tomatoes. Been years since I last watched that. I've never seen that one either. At the Whistle Stop Cafe. I remember the film, but it's only a movie. So I don't know why they didn't include that last scene. It'd have been a good scene because they can't get attacked on the way out, don't the birds are attacking the car and stuff. And they finally get away. But Hitchcock thought this were good enough. It left it ambiguous as to what were going to happen next. Had the birds stopped attacking people? Had it all calmed down? Or was it just the calm before the storm? But anyway, they're taking Melanie. She don't want to go. She's like, no. Because obviously she's got PTSD now. But they take her to the car. And I was watching her thinking, where's Kathy? What are they doing with Kathy? Because she's nowhere to be seen. But she's in the house. They bundle her in the car and then they go back for Kathy. She says, can I bring me lovebirds? They haven't attacked anybody. Okay, whatever. So the lovebirds are safe. And off they go. Because see, look, she's even smiling at her, look. Because now she's got a daughter. Or whatever. I don't know. But we can see that maybe she's finally found one of Mitch's girlfriends that she likes. Finally. In all this chaos. Anyway, they drive away with the birds watching and off they go. In driving off into the distance, they don't even, doesn't even say the end. Which is deliberate. They did back then, didn't they? I think they said the end, wouldn't it? Oh, it'd have credits coming up. I don't think they even have that. He wanted to leave it it's kind of apocalyptic, isn't it? Sort of. Kind of an apocalyptic ending. Have the birds taken over? Off they go. I think it just fades out to the. Yes, it does. It fades to black, and then we get the. Oh, what's happening there? There we go. A universal release. So yeah, great film is The Birds. We'll go back to that. There it is. Of them driving away. Great film. There's a sequel, isn't there? Which I didn't know about until today. I forgot the now. Birds 2 Land's End, which I've never seen, which has got Tippi Hedren in it, apparently. It came out in the 90s, I think. Let me check. Does it say sequel? An unconnected. Oh, yes, she's in it, but she plays a different character. An unconnected television sequel, The Birds 2 Land's End, was released in 1994. Director Rick Rosenthal, who directed Halloween 2 and Halloween Resurrection. Did he do anything else? Bad Boys. Did he do Bad Boys? That must be a different Bad Boys. Bad Boys was Michael Bay, wasn't it? Must be a different one. Must be a different one. Anyway, removed his name from the credit. Oh, right, so it's an Alan Smithy film. So it must be rubbish. I'm going to have to find that one. Tippi Hedren returned in a supporting role, but not as an original character. So she was 33 in 1963. So in 1994, she'd have been 64, wouldn't she? Yeah, 64. The sequel was panned by critics and audiences. I'm going to have to find it. Anyway, so there we go. That's the end of The Boyds. Good movie, says Justin. And it is. It's a great movie. It is really, really good. And as I said, a very apocalyptic ending. It's almost John Carpenter in its apocalypticness. Prince of Darkness almost. But yeah, great film. But anyway, yes, Planet of the Birds. Indeed. Right. Get rid of that. There we go. Oh, let's get rid of that as well. Let's go. We pressed it. No. Hello. There we go. Why did that work? I don't know. Haven't you heard about the bird? Cue song. Is that a labyrinth song? I bet it is, isn't it? I bet it is. Anyway, right, so we'll leave it there. Go and watch The Birds. It's probably on the internet. This actually wasn't my DVD. It used to go to my mum. It was in a set with Psycho. So the Psycho and the Birds in a box set that my mum had. So I inherited it. Is it a Family Guy joke? They used all the time. Family Guy, one of those shows that I think I watched season 1, all of season 1, and then just caught the odd episode of it after that. But, like I used to do with that space one, Futurama. I think I watched all of season 1 and then just caught the odd episode. I'm hopeless, I know I am. Anyway, we'll leave it there. So what's coming up next? What day on Friday? On Monday, we're singing with Grease on Monday for Magnificent Mondays. One of my favourite musicals. It's a great film as well. A lot of fun. Went to see this at the cinema. A proper blockbuster in Wakefield where I saw it. At the ABC cinema in Wakefield, there was a queue all round the back of the cinema and the shops and stuff that went all the way to Tesco's at the bottom. I thought, I'll never get in, but luckily some mates, some of my friends from school were right at the front, and they said you could come in with us. So there we go. So that's what happened. So I went back in 1978, and I've loved it ever since. Beady Brick says I bought my son the DVD, so good idea to watch it again. Yes, it is. Great film. If you mean The Birds or Grease, whichever. Futurama's a million times better than Family Guy, though. Oh, it was at least. I'm gonna have to catch up with Futurama. Genuinely am. Yes, Futurama's underrated. I'm gonna have to catch up with it. And I do have a schedule planned for what's coming up for the rest of June and July. Fingers crossed. So let me. My next 3 Friday Night Appointments with Fear, I've decided for no reason whatsoever, I'm going to have a Peter Cushing season. So for the next 3 Friday Night Appointments with Fears, fingers crossed. It's not for certain. I'm going to go next week. It's going to be The Abominable Snowman from 1957, great film written by Nigel Neal. Then the week after that, Island of Terror. Remember, all these are starring Peter Cushing. The late, great Peter Cushing, who I think is the greatest actor of all time. Island of Terror from 1967, where, spoilers, Peter Cushing gets his hand chopped off in a surprisingly gory scene. And then on July the 3rd, The Hound of the Baskervilles, the Hammer version from 1959. As I said, again starring Peter Cushing. And Christopher Lee's in this one as well. So that's them. And my next 3 Magnificent Mondays after Grease, we're doing a couple of Steven Spielberg ones, actually, weirdly. Minority Report, and then AI, Artificial Intelligence, and then the Independence Day week. On July the 6th, we're doing Independence Day Resurgence. So that's the tentative schedule for the next 3 or 4 weeks. So, anywho. Justin says, so Grease Lightning, go, 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 go. Don't get me started, I will start singing Grease song. At least watch the Futurama, the original series reunion episode if you haven't. I have no idea if I have or haven't. I have no idea. I'd probably not. It just says, love Peter Cushing, Vincent Price also. Yes, great actors. Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, Vincent Price, all those great actors. Right, we'll leave it there. So thanks, Justin. Thanks for the super sticker. Thanks, Wingrace and Beardy Brits and Gavin. Everybody else popping. I think that's it, isn't it? For watching the birds with me. Because Tippi Hedren, as Gavin said, Tippi Hedren's the top bird in this film. I'll just check on Rumble, make sure nobody's left a chat. No, they haven't. They never do. Right. Says, I wish I was in a pool. Yes, Beardy Brick's in his pool watching this. I'm guessing Beardy Brick's not in Britain, unless he's got an indoor pool. I don't know. Maybe he's fantastically wealthy. I have no idea. Always fun. It is always fun, even though if I do have to take a toilet break occasionally. So I'm sitting here with a bottle of water. Anyway, right, so we'll leave it there. So, let me get sorted. Where is it? There it is. So thanks for watching. Wherever you are, look after each other. Don't have nightmares. Birds are not going to take over the world. That's AI that's going to happen. That policeman that were in the birds, AI. Don't have nightmares. And until next time, I don't even know what I'm talking about. But I'll say